Hey, welcome. Let's talk about something that can be, well, really tricky, our relationships with our colleagues. We're going to dive into a hypothetical case study to unpack what happens when you find out a coworker made a serious mistake.
So just imagine for a second, you're at work, doing your thing, and you stumble upon a major mistake. A big one, made by a colleague, maybe even someone you like. What's that gut reaction? What's the first thing that flashes through your mind? That's the big question we're tackling today.
All right, to make this real, let's look at this hypothetical situation. We have a healthcare professional, and they've just discovered a pretty significant error in how a colleague handled the patient's care. So you can imagine they're at a total crossroads, right? They want to do the right thing, but they know they need to think through all the angles before they make a move.
And right off the bat, a few options probably come to mind. You could just stay quiet, or you can go talk to your colleague directly. Maybe you go straight to the administration. Or what about telling the patient? I mean, none of those feel particularly easy, and each one has some serious consequences. So where do you even start?
Well, to find the answer, we actually have to zoom out a little. It really boils down to this quote here. In fields like healthcare, and honestly this applies to almost any job, you're not working in a bubble. Everything is about teamwork. And once you realize that what you do is part of a highly cooperative endeavor, you start to see things differently.
Yeah, because the work is so cooperative. Our relationships with our peers are about so much more than just getting a project done. They're built on this whole web of things like leadership, accountability, making decisions together, and of course, good communication, and just supporting each other. Every single action you take can ripple through that entire web.
And the difference between good and bad pure relations? Oh, it's huge. We're not just talking about whether you like your coworkers. With good relationships, you get a humane work atmosphere, everybody holds themselves to a higher standard, and patients get better care. But on the flip side, you've got a stressful environment, falling standards, and a real risk to patients, not to mention a much bigger chance of legal trouble for everyone.
Okay, so that brings us right back to our main question, but now we're looking at it with this whole new perspective. Knowing how important these professional relationships are, what should our attitude be when a coworker messes up? It's clearly not as simple as just pointing fingers. It's about navigating that complex cooperative web we just talked about.
And this right here is our guiding principle. It's like our North Star in this situation. The goal isn't to punish someone or to cover something up. The goal is to find the best possible solution that helps everyone involved. You see how that shifts your thinking? It moves you from just reacting to actually being constructive and looking at the whole picture.
So who is everyone involved? Well, we have to balance the needs of three different groups. First and foremost, you've got the patient. Their well-being is absolutely number one. But then you also have to think about your colleague, their career, their reputation, and their chance to actually learn from this. And finally, you have to protect the profession itself, by making sure standards are upheld. The real trick is finding a path that serves all three.
And if you take away just one thing from all this, please let it be this. There is no single, easy formula. This principle isn't some checklist you can just run down. It's a framework that requires you to use your best judgment. Every single situation is going to be different, and the right thing to do will always depend on the specific details of what happened.
So, that brings us to the final and maybe most important question. It's one thing to understand the framework, but it's another thing to apply it when the pressure is on. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. Knowing that you need to promote the good of everyone, how do you find that best solution? How do you strike that delicate balance in the real world? That, right there, is the heart of professional ethics.